Welcome to this week's edition of Outdoors Online, a weekly webcast produced by the North Dakota Game and Fish Department. I'm your host, Tom Jensen. My guest this week is a very familiar face. Game and Fish Director Terry Steinwan joins us. Terry, you signed on for another term, I guess, 4 more years as director, this time in the cabin of a brand new governor.
Yeah, and I'm really excited. This will be the 3rd governor I've worked for, and I've had a couple conversations with Governor Burgum, and I'm very impressed with him. He's certainly innovative, forward-thinking. We haven't had a lot of opportunity to talk about the outdoors, other than some of his hunting stories and some of my hunting stories, but I'm impressed. He's a very, very quick study, very forward-thinking, so I'm really looking forward to working under his administration.
I would guess, since you re-enlisted, so to speak, for another term, that you have some things that you haven't accomplished yet that you want to.
I think every director could say that, and my wife always says that, well, you're going to retire someday, because if you always keep saying, hey, I just want to get this done, I just want to get that done, you'll never retire, because there's always something else to get done. It's kind of like owning a house. You always got to do something, and there's a lot of stuff to get done yet. There's no doubt about it. We're never going to have a perfect world for wildlife. I think the issue is that we have to collaborate with a whole bunch of different entities, agencies, the public, to get that perfect balance, if you want to call it that. And probably we had a good balance, probably the early to mid 2000s with the CRP and all the habitat we had out there. We've slipped back a little bit, but that's going to be one of my major objectives, working with other entities and agencies to get some of that habitat back.
Obviously, you've met with Governor Burgum several times. Can you share with us a little bit of what his vision is for?
Well, certainly, and it's a bigger vision. It's not just specific to the outdoors. It's the Main Street Initiative, getting vital, vibrant communities out there. And the discussions I've had with Governor Burgum as part of the cabinet, I think we can help accomplish that, because about 1 in 3 North Dakotans either like to hunt or fish. And we're as much a quality of life agency as we are anything else. And to have that quality of life, you need to have that reasonable opportunity to access those hunting or fishing opportunities. And that's the way I see Game and Fish fitting into that portion of his vision right now, providing those great outdoor recreational opportunities in form of hunting, fishing, bird watching out in those areas. Of course, in order to provide that product, you have to have that base portion, which again is habitat.
Terry, we're heading into a new legislative session here in a couple of weeks, and we're working with a state budget that's fairly depleted. Even though we are a special fund agency, is it going to be tough to get things accomplished as close as lawmakers are going to be watching the pocketbook?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Tom. I don't have the answer to that, and I can only speculate, I guess, at this point in time.
That's all I'm asking
Again,
for.
And you mentioned, and it's really, really important for everybody to realize, and I think most sportsmen and women and most legislators realize, we are a special fund agency. We are a user pay, meaning if you hunt or fish, you're paying the bill for your recreational opportunity. I've seen it in the past where they tend to lump us in terms philosophically with how they dole out the budget, even though ours can't go to any other state agency if it's not fish or wildlife related. I think we've been a good steward of sportsmen and women money in North Dakota. We have some large expenditures out there, and we could spend a lot more, but we have to be very efficient about it.
This might be a year that we spend quite a bit more money than we're anticipating with deer depredation. You're going to have some wildlife issues with the weather,
right,
and things like that. And
it's been a tough winter so far, even though it's not that long, not that old. But it's one of those where, yeah, we're getting some depredation complaints. We had that lots of snow late fall. Couple that with extremely frigid temperatures out there, we're going to have a lot of depredation complaints. And the bigger part of that is how fast can they rebound? And again, that's habitat related.
You stated in a recent interview that you thought this would be a year that's going to see quite a bit of outdoor legislation during the session. Can you give me some examples?
Again, that's speculation. There's a lot of stuff going on.
I know that there's one issue that's rolling through your mind.
Right. I've heard pretty good rumor that there's going to be a no trespass bill, which means that everything is posted unless it's signed you came to one, similar to what South Dakota has right now. And of course for North Dakota, that would be a massive change in culture. And I hate to react to a bill that I haven't seen yet, but just on the surface and contextually, I don't see that as a good thing for sportsmen and women of North Dakota. So that's one big thing. Of course, our budget bill.
You're heading into your 11th year, so you know you've been around.
I've been here.
Kind of a two-part question here. First of all, biggest challenges coming up in the coming year. Second of all, biggest challenges coming up long term.
Well, I'll take the long term first. The habitat issue is always going to be a challenge. I tend to think them, like I've told staff many times, is we can always identify the challenges. Good Lord, we have challenges every day in our personal lives and in our business lives. I tend more to think about it and prefer to think about it more, and let's look for opportunities. Let's create opportunities out there rather than the challenges. It's easy to identify the challenges. Let's identify the opportunities. I think we have some tremendous opportunities out there. We just have to find them. I can think of some right now, even though it's a threat and it's certainly a challenge on some part. It's the low commodity prices right now are a real challenge to the state's economy and to the egg producers of the state. But it presents an opportunity for us. And it's not what we're trying to take advantage of them. We're absolutely not. But let's look at those areas where you're losing money. You own the land to make a living. Let's help you do that a little bit, and in the process, let's help wildlife by providing some habitat out there. That's the way I look at it. And habitat is going to be a short-term and long-term challenge. It always has been, and it always will be.
Well, congratulations on being reappointed, and welcome back.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I plan on being here for a little while yet.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
The 2017 North Dakota legislative session will begin very soon. If you plan to follow the session and track bills pertaining to the outdoors, here's a very valuable tool. The legislative page on the Game and Fish website. It'll give you a reference number for each bill, a brief explanation of the bill and how it might affect outdoors men and women, and will also have links to contact your lawmaker in every legislative district in North Dakota. Log on to the Game and Fish website at gf.nd.gov. You'll find the legislative page under the seasonal shortcuts on the home page. For Director Terry Steinwand and the rest of the staff here at North Dakota Game and Fish, thanks for joining us for Outdoors Online. We'll see you again next week.